Welcome back to the Roadside Rescue YouTube channel. I'm Ernest, and this is probably going to be a pretty quick video. Well, it'll be decent because I'll probably come back and do the repairs before I finish the video. I'm doing some diagnosing today. Diagnosing? That doesn't sound right. Let me know in the comments down below if that's the wrong word. But normally I just film diagnosing when I'm out doing it. Sometimes I do because when I do the repair, it just adds to it. So it's kind of hit or miss, but a lot of times I don't film diagnosing. That's probably the right word. Anyways, I'm here, and this one's kind of interesting because I'm doing 3 different vehicles, but I'm on fire. This first one had 2 different problems, and I already figured them both out. And normally when it comes to EVAP stuff, I'm like, I'll give it a look because that's all I'm doing. I haven't bought a smoke machine yet, and I was thinking like if I don't figure this one out, this will be the time I buy a smoke machine, but I figured it out. So let's go take a look. The first one's an old Corolla. This is an interesting story too because 2 of the other ones, it's a Mercury, but it's a Ford, and the other one's an Expedition. They've been taken to other mechanics the past couple of months, this year already a few times, and other mechanics haven't been able to figure out any of these issues. So I think I'm onto it, and let's go ahead and head out, and I'll show you the first car, and I'm on the second one now. I was about to pull spark plugs, so you'll know whenever you're caught up to where I'm at when I'm doing that. Let's go ahead and hop out. And I mean, I try and take advantage of coming out and doing diagnosis stuff by making shorts. So I already made a short about this, but it was more interesting than that. It had a check engine light, already cleared the code, so it's not going to come back up. They said they've replaced the gas cap 3 times, including a gas cap from Toyota itself from the dealership. And I was like, well, after the second one, you probably should have just guessed it wasn't the gas cap for sure. After the first one, I would have. But as you can see, the check engine light isn't there. But it was an EVAP leak. So they've got new gas cap a few times. And this car's leaking something. And I'm sure they have to know that it's power steering fluid because it's not whining. So it's been getting topped off. I'm guessing you can just see how much oil's on here. I was expecting it to be oil, like looking for an oil leak. Valve covers looked fine, and then I looked down there. Oil pan looks fine. The bottom of the oil pan looks fine, but the dust cover, the front subframe, this frame right here, rail, this fender right here, everything's just covered in power steering fluids, what that turns out to be. And I was like, oh no, am I gonna have to do, there's the high pressure, or there's the return line, and there's the line to the pump. So yeah, there's the high pressure line. And you can check out the short if you want to, but I got all the way up to the high pressure line and there was oil leaking from it. So I just moved the spring clamp forward. I didn't want to take the hose off and let that fluid drain out. I didn't come with any extra fluid or anything prepared for that. But I figured, hey, I have an extra hose clamp. I literally only had one and it happened to fit. So I went ahead and put that on. And that should fix that leak for them. I'm not going to clean up the fender or anything, but they'll be able to know after a couple of days or weeks if that leak stops. And I'm assuming they're not going to have to top it off anymore. Okay, so then I was like, well, let me just see if I can find the EVAP leak. And I came over here and I was like, oh, that looks like the EVAP line. Those are vacuum lines. Those are vacuum lines. And I was like, I think that's the EVAP line. And I could look down there and I could see the fuel lines and EVAP lines running to and from the tank. And I was like, let me follow this. And bada bing, bada boom, you see that crack? I don't know how the other people didn't figure that out. They don't have a smoke machine at the other shop or whatever, but that's a crack in the EVAP line right there. There's a crack right there in this line as well. That one doesn't have a hose clamp, but this one does. So I'm gonna plan on replacing these EVAP lines, and that's definitely the small leak right there. So that was a diagnosis well done. Let's go look at that Mercury. I'll tell you what it's doing and what I think the cause is because it's pretty typical. Well, I just got done scanning codes on this, and we've got stuck lean, stuck rich, bank 2 sensor number 1. So we might have a problem with that O2 sensor. I'm going to do a test on that before I'm done. The main issue though sounds just like old spark plugs, so that's my plan, is to go ahead and pull one of those and I'll explain to you what it's doing. we got a baby Triton here, 4.6 V8. This is bank 2 here. I'm just gonna go ahead and pull one of these spark plugs. I'm assuming those coils come off easy like on the Tritons. I'll pull that one, it looks easiest to get to. And let's look at those plugs. I think it's probably old plugs. Okay, here comes this coil. I just want to see, one spark plug will tell us how all of them are. But they said it's shaken at idle sometimes, and they said it like... And then I asked specifically if it surges when they're accelerating. They said, yeah, they're like, yeah, we specifically noticed getting on the interstate. That's what people always tell me. It could be like a lack of fuel issue, or it could be spark plugs. I'm thinking spark plugs, but I've seen this a ton of times, and when it feels like it lacks power and surges like that, it's usually spark plugs. So let's give these a look. Back on. Oh yeah, that gap looks huge. No tip in there whatsoever. So I'm gonna recommend a tune-up first. Let me look at those O2 sensors, but a tune-up will definitely fix the surging. Hopefully it fixes the check engine, but that looks like there's an O2 sensor problem as well. Okay, well there's your answer to that. Bank 2 sensor 1, no voltage, so I'm gonna make sure, I'll probably just come back when I do those spark plugs with an O2 sensor, and when I'm down there already ready to replace it, I'll test the wiring. Yeah, that's definitely having some issues though. Kind of wanted to do something there and then stopped. Yeah, I mean, it should be doing what these other two are doing, jumping around, and it's just dead still. So I did want to do something that's making me think it probably is the sensor. I'll just come back with a sensor when I come back with the spark plugs. Okay, on this expedition, I was supposed to be looking at the door chime that doesn't go off, but it went off. There it is. Oh, wait. Yeah, this is just like my Ranger. If you just leave it in the right spot, it'll work. It's definitely the sensor in here. Then they replaced the whole steering column. Yeah, now it's going off. Because yeah, they're touchy. There it is. See, my Ranger is the same way. If you hit the steering wheel or bump this, it'll start going off. Yeah, definitely the key sensor there. If I can tighten this handle right here, so let's do that first. I brought a screwdriver because I was thinking it would be a screwdriver. Looks like one of those little 7 or 8 millimeters. I mean, honestly, it's probably standard, but we're gonna grab the metric. All right, it takes 2 seconds. That's way nice and tight now. That will instill some confidence climbing in and out of the truck now. Good to go. What was that, dash cam? All right, I'm back. It's day 2. It's rainy, but they actually have like a little steel roof overhang for one of their vehicles, and the other one's in a garage. So I'm actually able to just maneuver the 3 vehicles to where I'm covered all day because it's pretty dark outside. It was raining a lot more on the way down here on the interstate. I'm about 20 minutes away, and the weather out here is weird. I'll show you the mountains. You can barely see them. It looks like it might snow and rain all day, but it just might not also. It's weird. Either way, today I lucked out because they have plenty of coverage here, so I've got everything I need. Let's get to it. Let's get in here. I think I brought my light. Okay, so last time I found the evap leak underneath this cover. I didn't pull the cover all the way off because I didn't want to go grab the little Allen bit to get these bolts out, which are like machine head screws, I think is what they're called. You know, if I'm wrong, I'll get you a closer look. Yeah, it's a 5. I guess my kit only has like a 4 and a 6. So that was dumb. Oh, that's not tight. That's good. When I put these in, also, I never tighten them down because there's no sense. It's just a beauty cover. On my vehicles, I take them all. Okay, never mind. They're not even bolts. They're just these, but 2 of them came out with their studs. This one left the stud behind, so whatever. Okay, now here we go. We can take a look at these 2 evap hoses with the crackage. And to fix that, I've got fuel hose. You have to use fuel hose because normal hose will swell up and lose its shape whenever fuel vapor or fuel gets in it. But I like replacing plastic evap tubing. That one's not even plastic, with rubber hoses. These are dry rotted rubber hoses, but even whenever they have the plastic tubing, you can replace those with just normal fuel injector hose. So let's go ahead and do it. We're going to need to replace this one and that one. Well, these little clamps are fun because you can take them off by hand. So these are my favorite kind of hose clamps right here. Yeah, dry rotted to smithereens. That'll do it. It looks like it was cracked on the back side also, the way it broke off. Cool, you can tell as I started to pull this extra padding back how cracked that line was. I'm trying to take these off carefully without breaking anything below them. This one's metal, so I'm not too worried about it. I think that one's plastic and that one's plastic. All right, I'm gonna go ahead and hose clamp these. When in doubt, I go ahead and put them on. I'm not sure if they need it or not. It feels a little loose, so since I'm in doubt, put that hose clamp on. And then I won't have to worry about it later when I'm sleeping. Okay. That one was super hard to get off. I got a little relief in the tip there. But man, I was afraid I was gonna break the hose that it's connected to on the other side. I had to pull so hard. I was trying to just grab that sensor. Thought I was gonna break that because it was plastic, but finally popped off. Definitely tricky though. Maybe would have cut a second relief if it didn't come off in just another second. And then here's my favorite hose clamps. When they have these long tabs, you can take them off by hand. Okay, that ain't going anywhere. That should fix this one. The leak looks good from last time. That's definitely dried up and stopped leaking. They never even topped it off, so they had caught it when it just started to leak. All right, that's a job well done on this one. Let's put that cover back on and get to the next one. Okay, 3 screws on here, and then you gotta unscrew this to get it off. And we're digging in here looking for some wiring issue or the actual ignition switch itself, which doesn't look like it was replaced. It just looks like it was scratched to death. So maybe somebody replaced the switch inside of that. I'm not sure. those scratches. That's a little weird. Yeah, somebody messed that up. Look at that putty right there. Yeah, they don't know what they were doing. Some other shop messed this up. Now that I'm right here, I can tell. That looks like a JB Weld or something. I don't know why they would do that the right way. Dang, that was unexpected. Okay, so I finally got all that JB Weld off of there. That took a minute. I took a picture, so I'll put it on the screen. And I've put just a little bit of 𝘥𝘰𝘬𝑊𝘐 gasket on there to hold it in place since it's actually broken. And I'm gonna go do those spark plugs while that dries, but that's way less of a mess, and that whole little clip is broken. So obviously they broke it and it's gonna need to be replaced, but 𝘥𝘰𝘬𝑊𝘐 gasket isn't gonna be in the way of everything there and potentially might fix it. Maybe not though. Okay, I'm gonna start with spark plugs on this Marquis, and afterwards I'll do the O2 sensor because the driveway's kind of slanted. I don't want to jack it up here, so I'm gonna have to wait till after I do that expedition. So let's do the spark plugs. That'll take half an hour, and then that 𝘥𝘰𝘬𝑊𝘐 gasket should be setting up. Okay, well there's the mountains. Technically those are the foothills. You can't actually see the mountains behind them. I forgot to show you earlier, so bummer right here because my socket's getting caught on the edge of the hole before it can get on there. That's the only one that's probably going to cause an issue, and I have other sockets with me, so I'll just put a bunch of small extensions on there. That should be just fine. But I can't just get to that one with a normal socket is my main point there. All right, a couple of little extensions like I mentioned got down into that hole. Let's get them out. All right, so other than that, it went exactly how you'd expect. I zipped all 7 of those other spark plugs in and out, no problem. We got to come back for the O2 sensor. Let's go look at that expedition again. Okay, well that took forever. I ended up zip tying that switch in there. The 𝘥𝘰𝘬𝑊𝘐 gasket didn't hold. So I've got this now where it doesn't beep when the key's out. But it will beep when it's supposed to, like when the key's in. Okay, that'll do it for this one. That took a while. Okay, good thing I quadruple checked. Make sure I got my wheel chalked, yeah. Because over here, I thought this was bank 2 on this side. You can see the injector here on this side is a lot further forward, so I was looking, I'm like, oh, that must be cylinder 1. But if you look at the exhaust and the intake manifolds, that's actually cylinder number 2. Cylinder number 1 right here, this intake's a little bit further forward than that one, so bank 1's actually over there, bank 2 is over here, so I've got to replace the O2 sensor. Oh, upstream, I was going to jack it up. I can see it now. That's the one. No need for that. Well, never mind. Am I? Let me try jacking it up. I was going to say, I'm pretty sure I have to jack it up. If you can see it. If you can see past my light down there's a green connector. There it was. I saw it. That green. Right way down there. That's the connector for the O2 sensor. Way down there under my flashlight right there. So I think I have to jack it up to get to that. Oh, I can almost see it right there too. See it? Way back there. Yeah, you probably can't see that. Anyways. Oh yeah, I see it now. That green. Let's jack it up. Yeah, I definitely just have to jack it up because it's right there, so should be no problem to change now that I'm underneath here. right there. So it looks about as easy to take off from up top as it does from down here, just because limited visibility and just one angle to reach up through there, but no other choice on that connector. Luckily I was thinking it was behind the block of the motor up against the firewall, and I was like, how am I going to reach that? Right here there's not much space, but I should be able to get my arm through there. That looks a lot bigger on camera than it is. It's not much space. Okay, my other worry was that it was going to be hard to disconnect, because I thought the push down part was on this side. It's just a weird little tab there, so I should be able to push that down and slide it out. We're good to go now. Let me get my sensor wrench. Probably this one. Okay, there it is. Can't see it. Nothing crazy, just nice new sensor. Got that wire, making sure it's not touching the cat. Looks like a bit of oil coming out of the exhaust gasket right there, just a little, probably blow by. Oil pan gasket could be replaced. And there was a little bit of oil around the front crank, but I don't think this thing has many miles. It's in pretty good shape. Let's go put the computer on. It's already on. Let's go turn it on and make sure that this O2 sensor is now getting a good reading. Light out. I'm starving. Yeah, 92,000 miles. That's what I was thinking. Like, from everything I'd seen up here, just not much dirt. Everything was in pretty good shape. All right, there we go. That's way better than last time. That's just starting to warm up. I was afraid at first because look, it went 15 seconds without doing anything, and I was like, oh shoot. That's doing good now, yeah. Just what we want to see. Bank 1 sensor 1 and bank 2 sensor 1 doing pretty much the same thing. They usually flip-flop at opposites, but you want to see them moving about the same frequency, and that looks great. Should be flip-flopping now with number 1. Cool, that looks great. That'll do it. Turn off the check engine light while we're at it. All right, that's a day well done. I'm worn out. This car's nice though. Wouldn't mind having something like this. Well, that's it for this episode. If you liked it, you got to make sure you're subscribed and you leave this video a thumbs up. Let me know what you think down in the comments down below. Did I miss anything? What do you think about this repair, day in the life? On average, I've always said I make like $150, $200 a job. That turns out to be true here, just like almost in every case. There's always some people who are wondering, if you're thinking about becoming a mobile mechanic yourself, check out my other videos. I'll let you know whether I think it's a good idea or not. And if you like this episode, make sure you check out the next one up here. I'll see you there. That was a job well done.